We are back, and happy Thanksgiving to all those who are watching this and celebrate the holiday of Thanksgiving. Hopefully, you had plenty of good food, and that the time with family or the time with not family, however you spent it, was spent well. And we're going to get into a recap of the Cavaliers beating the Portland Trailblazers last night by the final score of 114 to 96. 114 has been a pretty good score for the Cavs as of late, as they tend to keep winning when they get that score. So 114 does seem to be the litmus mark for this team. Justice for Evan Mobley, as he got a double-double along with 3 blocks last night. In that game against the Atlanta Hawks, Donovan Mitchell at the very end of the game stealing that 10th rebound away from him. It was kind of a funny moment where Evan Mobley obviously wasn't very happy about it. Jarrett Allen basically staring him down all the way all the way to the court. At the end of the game there. Evan Mobley not having any problems getting a double-double on this game, though. And Jarrett Allen also getting a double-double, including a season-high 24 points. So it's not like he just barely reached 10 or 11 points or anything. He was very much involved in the offensive scoring in this game. The bench only contributing 10 points, with only Okoro, Wade, and Osman really getting significant minutes. Karis LeVert is still out, and Kevin Love was also ruled out after apparently being under the weather. Plus, he is still dealing with that hairline fracture in his thumb, so he was also out. Portland Trailblazers missing Damian Lillard, I don't think can be overstated. I think that is obviously a pretty big blow for the Trailblazers. Damian Lillard being a guy who can, if he sometimes he just gets on one of those heaters and he goes off for 50. He's just one of those kind of players that can light it up like that if he's feeling the right kind of way. So the Cavs going down slightly early, but they do go on a run late in the first quarter to end up in the lead by 7 when the first quarter ends. Cavs shooting the ball very well to start the second quarter. They take a double-digit lead, but Portland does come back with some nice shooting of their own, and they manage to make it a manageable gap leading into halftime. Things staying competitive throughout the third quarter. Donovan Mitchell driving to the hoop really well. I think Donovan Mitchell is what he gives the Cavs is someone that is mostly an unstoppable offensive force night in, night out. He can drive to the hoop and score from there. He obviously has tremendous outside range. And, Darius Garland can be that guy too at times. We saw it, of course, last season when he had his breakout year, and we've seen it at times this season too. But he is still a young player. He is only in his third year in the league, and we just saw a little earlier on in the season when the Cavs are going through that losing streak that Darius Garland is still capable of a little bit of a slump. Donovan Mitchell, as far as I can tell, has only had one real lackluster game with the Cavs, and that was against the Orlando Magic, where it didn't even matter. The Cavs still won by a decent amount anyway. So Donovan Mitchell is somebody you can count on as a veteran presence in this league that night in, night out will consistently, put up a ton of points scoring, will do, very impressive stuff like that. So I feel like that's what Donovan Mitchell gives this Cavs team that maybe it was missing last year and what could have been missing this year if they hadn't swung that big trade with Utah in the offseason. Nurkic also doing a lot of damage for the Trailblazers in the third quarter. He was one of the ones keeping the Trailblazers kind of in this game, because I felt at this point the Cavs were mostly driving the play and Portland was kind of keeping up. But if you let a team keep up for long enough, maybe sometimes that momentum turns into them actually going on a run and grabbing the lead, and then who knows. The Cavs building a 15-point lead in the fourth quarter with less than 6 to go. Darius Garland hitting some nice three-pointers early in the fourth quarter. Like I said, Darius Garland, it's not like he's no slouch either. He's obviously, he's gotten over his slump. He's hitting his stride. And when both of them are hitting their peak at the same time, it's been a beautiful thing to watch for basketball, and especially for the Cavs. They're going to need that to continue if they want to be seen as serious contenders in the East. Portland does get it to 9 points, so maybe you're feeling a little bit concerned if you're a nervous Nelly and you think of all the blown leads the Cavs have had last year, and some of the ones that they've given up this year kind of lend you to believe that maybe the Cavs are kind of teetering here on the edge of collapse, but it never gets any closer than that. The Cavs do a nice job of closing this game out, and the game ends, again, final score 114 to 96. Final score is not even close. So again, I think who knows how this game goes with Lillard in the lineup, because again, there were moments where Portland was very close and in the game, and the Cavs maybe looking a little vulnerable, and Damian Lillard, again, he can be a game breaker when he's on his game. But, you'll take them as you can get them. You won't always be able to win with only 10 points coming off of the bench. But again, with Kevin Love and LeVert out, their bench wasn't exactly operating at full strength either. And I will say, Lamar Stevens is doing for the Cavs at the starting small forward position what I thought Okoro would be doing. If you look back at my my prediction slash preview for the Cavs lineup for this season, I kind of thought Isaac Okoro would be that guy who would provide some really dynamic defense and be at least not an offensive liability, because you don't need a dynamic scorer on small forward when you already have Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland to take care of that. Plus, like you saw, Jared Allen going for 24. I think Evan Mobley is capable of going off for a ton of points if he just converts on all of his shots. So, I don't think you need somebody who's going to be a dynamo scoring machine like we've seen Karis LeVert can be sometimes. That's why I had Karis LeVert coming off of the bench in my original prediction, but I did have Isaac Okoro starting because I thought he would provide that offense. But at least Lamar Stevens that defense, but at least Lamar Stevens provides some of that good defense. Plus, he is also not a complete offensive liability. With Isaac Okoro, it's been a little disappointing to see that on the offensive side of the court, it's really 4.5 on 5, because it seems like both teams at this point know that Isaac Okoro is essentially a non-threat on offense, which is really disappointing. Hopefully he finds a rhythm. He's able to start knocking down some more of those wide open threes that teams are giving him. Hopefully he finds that finishing touch when he's driving into the lane, because I do think Isaac Okoro, you see flashes of that defense when he gets on one of the players that's having a really hot streak against the Cavs or something, and sometimes he'll be able to shut them down for a possession or two, and you'll see that, and you'll be like, man, I wish we could give him more minutes, but it's just such nothing on the offensive side of the court, which, and that's what Lamar Stevens is doing. And good for Lamar Stevens from basically going from being on a milk carton, essentially only being getting blowout minutes, to now earning himself a starting role, especially with Dean Wade being injured. Although Dean Wade coming back, even though he wasn't very impactful in this game, I do think him returning to the floor and being able to do things and getting back into the rhythm, I do think that is encouraging, especially considering we're not sure how long, well, maybe we are, I'm not sure how long Karis LeVert is going to be out for, but essentially, I do think this game for the Cavs was a positive. Obviously, you come away with this with a win. Maybe not the most sustainable in terms of, again, the bench only scoring 10 points. Some of your starters just going off, having really nice shooting games. Who knows if you can replicate this win against most of the games you play, but sometimes you just take the win however you can get it. And that's pretty much it for this video. Thank you all for watching. If you made it this far, please leave a like and a subscribe if you enjoyed the video and you would like to see more like it. Let me know what you think down in the comments below, and I will see you at the next one.